What's good, everybody? Welcome into the Midstate 48 presented by Miracle Auto Group. We're getting you ready for the second round of the playoffs here around Middle Tennessee on this Wednesday evening. I'm going to bring in the crew, all five of us here, locked and loaded, ready to go. So, gentlemen, good evening.
Evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
KJ is a sharp-dressed man that I got to say, I'm going to brag on him a little bit because, he's come up in here and showed us all up.
When did we start trying to be respectable?
I mean, it's just something, it's called a business trip, guys, and that's what the Bucks are taking this week.
KJ out here looking like old school NBA coach. Meanwhile, I'm new school with the sweatsuit on and everything. So
I'm lucky I'm wearing pants.
You say that, I don't believe you.
I am.
No comment whatsoever from me. None.
We do not want to see proof either, Scott. So don't.
No, please don't.
No, this is a family show.
Well, yeah.
Well, no, it's not really, but
I mean,
there are families involved that we.
Oh, it is, because if you hear a sixth voice, it's going to be a 5-month-old husky. That one, not hush.
They do talk, so
yeah, rather loudly actually.
That didn't take much, Matt.
Took 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
We're under 90 seconds easily. Let's look at some brackets for this week, just because I want to look at the artwork that we've conjured up for these brackets in the postseason. We'll start in 1A real quick. Gordonsville's our only area team left. They're at home against Whitwell. They got a big scare Friday night from Chattanooga Prep, though. So one of those games where we think Gordonsville may be in trouble.
Oh, for sure. I think that they played well defensively last week. Was able to get a few turnovers, but offensively, since losing Brady Gentry, the Hancock kid has stepped up some. But Jay Foster's going to have a big night for the Tigers to move on.
Yeah, this is a young team. I still think that they are, they're a year, maybe two away. They're right on schedule, but I think that they're a young team, and it's going to take some time.
Yeah, if they are to get by Whitwell, another potential matchup with South Pitt, which seemingly happens every year, awaits in the quarterfinals, and they'd be on the road for that one too. So Gordonsville at home, Tony Porterfield, still a tough place to win. So our picks for that game, it's not going to be tonight, but we'll see those in the morning around 9 o'clock at 615preps.com, where we've got all of our picks for the second round up there. Eagleville in the round of 16 as well in Class 1A. They got to go back to Moore County.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, we said it. We've said it the last couple of weeks, really. Eagleville and Coach Walker's group is playing their best football of the season. Now, is that enough to go on the road to Moore County and knock off a quarterback like Dawson White? Tall task. To be determined, but extremely tall task.
Oh, absolutely. They played a really good defensive game last week, and if Moore County is napping, Eagleville certainly could knock them off and surprise this whole bracket.
That West Carroll score really shocked me because I thought it'd be a little closer, but it just seems like Moore County and McKenzie are the two top dogs here. Eagleville pulls off an upset. That's one of the biggest upsets of the year though.
And if Collinwood does not win and Eagleville does, Eagleville would host McKenzie next round because they're on the top line, which in an odd number year like this one is the case, the way the rotation's set up. Let's go to 2A real quick. Smith County at home against Fayetteville. East Robertson on the road at Marion County. We've got picks for the East Robertson game coming on later on, so we'll talk Smith County first.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle. Smith County, you're going to want to hold Sam Willoughby and this Tigers offense that's really, picked up lately. I know they started off the year rough. They played a brutal schedule. This is a good test for that Smith County defense because Willoughby is one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best top junior quarterbacks in the state right now. He's had a really good year, and it should be a good test for whoever they face in the quarters.
Yeah. Matt Dyer, huge friend of the show here. I'm going to give you a little bit of bulletin board material, Matt. You won't be able to stop Sam Willoughby. You just got to slow him down enough to win. That's going to be a tough task, but I like I'll spoiler here since we're not picking it later. I like the Owls to be able to do just enough at home to win.
Yeah,
The
like
holes. Go ahead, KJ.
I mean, like Cam said, the Smith County's defense, we've seen them take on tall tasks all year. Especially with East Robertson. If there's anybody to do it, it would be Smith County.
I don't know that Fayetteville's seen a defensive line like Smith County has, and playing in the hole is a totally different atmosphere than a lot of places they might have played. I think defensively, Smith County, as Cam said, you slow them down enough, this Smith County offense will take advantage. I think that Smith County has a really good shot. I think they've got more than a good shot to take care of Fayetteville here.
Yeah, I like that Smith County line in a lot of contests, especially here too. I mean, it's not just the defensive line; it's the offensive line too, because those guys play both ways.
Yep.
On to 3A. We said goodbye to Watertown last week, so Sequatchie at Meigs County and McMinn Central at Giles County. We're going to skip that bracket because we don't have anybody left in it. 3A regions 5 and 6. Now, we have picks for both of those games, Stratford and East Nashville and Liberty Creek at Fairview coming up later, but we can at least chat about those real quickly. What are you looking for out of these two games?
Can Fairview play better than they did last week and give Liberty Creek a game? I mean, the fact that was a 36-30 game, I'm sure Coach Hughes isn't exactly thrilled about that result. I know they won, but you're facing a team that had one win all year, and then you're trying to turn that around against the Liberty Creek team that has been hot since losing to East Nashville in mid-September. So,
yeah, it's real simple for me. Two extremely hot teams. East Nashville back-to-back shutouts, I believe, week one of the playoffs and the last week of the regular season. And then Liberty Creek has scored 42 or more points in 6 straight games. So their offense and Brian Rager is at full tempo. So they're maxed out, and it's going to take a heck of a defensive performance or a great offensive performance to outscore them or stop them.
Go ahead, Scott. You got it this time.
Well, yeah, let's talk about the job that Bill Alexander has done with this Liberty Creek team, in their second year of existence. They're playing tremendous ball right now with still a very young and undersized team in certain areas and doing well. And it looks like they're growing up. They've grown up on an accelerated pace this year. So Fairview, I know they found a bell cow last week in Murray, but and they're going to want to keep that ball out of Brian Rager's hands. I don't know that they can do it.
Yeah, Trayvon Murray had a monster night against Maplewood, 37 carries, 311 yards, and 3 scores. And they'll need another productive night out of him. Do they need that kind of number? Not necessarily, but it'll be good if they can get more production like that out of him. On to 4A, Macon County hits the road to Red Bank. And the Tigers now, this is their first 10-win season since 2003. And they've done it a lot on the defensive side. They gave up 7 points to Loudon. They're going to Red Bank and try to avenge a playoff loss from last year, which was also at Red Bank.
Yeah, first 10-win season since 03. That's also the deepest a Macon County team has been in the playoffs, a semifinal appearance in 2003. This Macon County team lost last year 21-14 to Red Bank. The year before that was a little bit more lopsided. I think the final score was 41-7 the year before that. But this Macon County team has made a lot of strides this year. And we talked, Chris, you mentioned briefly on how good they've been able to play defensively. But the emergence of Gregory and Zach Borders and the other guys on offense has really been able to balance out that offense. They're as dangerous as anyone in this quadrant for sure.
Yep, we'll have a pick on that game as well later on.
Like Cam said, their defense gets it done. We've seen it for the whole season. But one thing that still really impresses me with them is their special teams. They're able to score off the kicking game, and that's hard to do.
Can confirm.
Yep. We're going to go jump to the other side of the 4A bracket. Station Camp travels to Pearl Cone, and the Bison pulled off an upset of South Gibson last week. And they've got to go face the Firebirds now, who have been as hot as anybody in the state.
Got a good win. Your reward, Pearl Cone.
The Firebirds are you can't say they're anything but on a mission. I think
Mhm.
Coach Brunetti has this team as focused as any team I've ever seen. Uh, it's going to be a very, very tall task for Station Camp to stay with Pearl in this game.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
Scott said it. They're on a mission, and I don't think there's anyone until we get to state that could challenge him.
I'd argue that they'd be one of the better teams in 5A this year. I mean, it's as
Oh,
simple
yeah.
as that. They would test a 6A team. I mean, this team is loaded. We thought they were good
They-
last year, and then what happened in the state championship last year? I mean, come on.
I think they would do more than just test 6A teams. I think that they would be a top 10 6A team easily, maybe a top 5 6A team.
I mean,
They are
beat
so
Division
talented.
II teams.
Yeah, so talented. What a huge win last week by Coach Bain and the Station Camp Bison, though. You know, once it gets this time of the year, I mean, I know Pearl Cone is an absolute juggernaut, but if you're Station Camp, all you can do is prepare and throw the kitchen sink at them. That's all you can do.
Oh, look at 5A. Centennial on
Literally.
the road to Shelbyville and Page at home against Tullahoma in this bracket.
Well, I hope you like defense in that bottom bracket.
Yeah, no kidding. But I think Page has more than enough on offense to kind of pull away and win that one. Centennial Shelbyville could be a lot of fun. I know Centennial struggled with Columbia last week. Shelbyville had no issues with Hillsboro. I mean, Centennial didn't earlier in the year either, but I think a lot of points could be put up in that one.
Shelbyville is maybe one of the most non-talked about teams in the state. 9-1, only lost week 1 to Siegel and Thomas Santel. When Thomas Santel literally put up like 800 yards of offense and like
Right.
8 touchdowns. So I mean, he had a ridiculous performance in that game. But Nathan DeLauder, the quarterback for Shelbyville, his performance was overlooked in that matchup as well, and he's the one that's led them to the 9-1 mark in the regular season. You know, them being able to score that much on a good Hillsboro defense. If I'm Centennial, this game has all of my attention.
That's
Oh,
one
yeah.
That's one of our 10 to pick later
Yeah.
on too.
Yeah, Shelbyville is. They got a good running back that's really starting to come on. It's Rayo Chandler, I believe. I'm going to butcher that name, but he's really come on of late. Centennial, though, their defense I think is playing very well at this moment.
7 and 8. Hendersonville on the road to Henry County. Beach, like KJ said, that business trip to Southwind. We'll pick that Beach Southwind game later too.
Yeah.
I think Henry County, Hendersonville will be a much closer game than it was maybe in the regular season.
Yep.
Now, much closer could mean a couple touchdowns at this point. Yeah, I just think Henry County is a different beast. I've seen them in person. Sorry, Beach fans. And that was, yeah, they're good. I really like their quarterback.
Yeah, 31-13 was the final in the first Henry County-Hendersonville matchup. Henry County led 24-7 at half, scored the only touchdown in the third quarter, went into the fourth quarter up 31-7. So a late score by Hendersonville made that one look a little bit closer. But with this being Mason Baker's senior year and the Jordan twins' senior year, I would expect them offensively to throw the ball around, try to trick plays, anything they can to try to score on a tough Henry County defense.
I think you could throw on Henry County's defense, too. I think Beach showed that in that game when they played him. Caden Powell had a really good game. And, yeah, I know. I'm never allowed at Beach again. It hurts my soul.
You're not.
The food there is so good.
Yeah,
Cam and KJ, that's it. That's the only people allowed at Beach
anymore.
But like we were talking about with Henry County, in the Hendersonville game, Hendersonville has a lot of injuries in their secondary right now. They've got 2 corners hurt and a safety hurt. I think that really hurts their defense against a Henry County team that's going to run down their throat.
Yeah.
Let's jump into 6A, and I want to make a correction here. This Mount Juliet score was actually 29-19. They had a pick 6 in the last play of the game with a penalty that got declined, so they gave 6 more points to Mount Juliet. So that was a 10-point win instead of a 4-point win. Anyway, Mount Juliet's hosting Oakland while Cookville travels to Riverdale.
Yeah.
Could Mount Juliet, I'm sure Coach Perry would have loved to just moved those 6 points to this week.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Right
that's
on.
probably still not enough. But, yeah, it's
Oakland and Riverdale started off last week pretty slow though, guys. I mean, this week they can't. I don't know. I can't really say they can't afford that because they're just kind of rolling at the moment. But I mean, it's obvious these two are the favorites. Can Cookeville or Mount Juliet spoil it? Sure, it's the postseason. Will they? Ugh.
unlikely. Some info on this Cookeville team from our guys from the UCR, Upper Cumberland Reporter. Last week against Siegel, they rushed the ball 57 times for 350 yards.
Yep.
And that is the exact formula of what they have to do this week to win.
Mhm.
But they, can they do that again against a really, really tough Riverdale defense?
That's the whole point, right? Cookville's going to do all they can to keep Riverdale's offense off the field. And I still think even if when this is over, it could look like, Cookeville had possession 3/4 of the time and Riverdale still win as quick strike as their offense is.
Yep.
So, they're going to have to hang on the ball, but more than that, they're going to have to hang on the ball and finish drives to beat Riverdale.
Yeah, and a huge shout out to Taylor Hennigan, the head coach up there at Cookeville. Just in a couple years, he's turned that Cavalier program around, headed back in the right direction.
Yep.
Regions 5 and 6. It's Ravenwood at Smyrna and Summit at Brentwood.
Ravenwood, Smyrna, defense.
Yeah,
Take
first
the- 1
to 10.
Take the under. Take the under. I mean, it's it's I mean, we'll talk about our predictions later. That's a tough one to pick. I think Brentwood Summit could be a good game. I know Summit actually gave Brentwood a little bit of a game when they played earlier in this year. Brentwood coming off the high of that Hendersonville game, but I think a Battle of the Woods rematch could be on the horizon. Who knows?
Yeah,
Brentwood better not be.
Go ahead,
Go
Scott.
ahead, Ken. I was going to say Brentwood better not be looking ahead to it because Summit, Coach Coleman's got that Summit offense seemed to be what was struggling earlier in the season. They seem to have settled into a groove and seem to have settled into a formula for success. And that running game is no joke. It's going to be interesting to see, though, that Ravenwood Smyrna game, whose offense can break out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be the interesting. I mean, because I fully expect him to bracket Ben Hubbard in that game, Smyrna, with Thomas Jones and Robinson in the corner. So Ravenwood's going to have to depend on their running game. And Dowland, I believe, is the running back's name, Davis Dowland.
Yep.
He's gonna have to be a big factor in it.
Yeah, I mean, this is one, like, there's no pun intended here, but if you just look at the nicknames of the teams, I think it embodies the matchups. You have the Smyrna Bulldogs versus the Ravenwood Raptors. That is going to be a literal dogfight. And then you have the Summit Spartans versus Brentwood Bruins. And, 20-0 the first time around, Brentwood wins. Coach Coleman is a great coach. I'm sure that they learned a lot from that first matchup. A whole lot more dangerous the second time around when you're playing a team.
Raptors are birds. Well, I'm confused by the analogy there.
I understood the dinosaur analogy.
It's
All
a
right.
battle, Joe. It's a battle, okay?
I'm gonna let that one marinate for a minute.
He could be a velociraptor is where he went.
He could be a dinosaur, Joe.
Yeah.
Their logo's like an eagle.
That's their fault.
God,
Not like the Toronto Raptors.
God, they could have gone with a really cool dinosaur logo. And looking back at it now,
They could have done the cartoony one like Toronto Raptors.
shameful.
Fair play. We done now? Can we go on?
Never.
All kidding aside, let's go on to Region 7 and 8, where we said goodbye to, all four of the teams from Region 7.
We
Yeah,
thought that
ditto.
might be the case.
Yeah.
Ditto from the last 6 weeks. We've been warning everybody that Memphis area is back. They're back big time. Not only in 6A, but you look at an undefeated Southwind team in 5A as well. So they've definitely rebounded from COVID.
And MUS in the
Mhm.
private school ranks.
Number one.
Yeah.
Lausanne.
Yep, one
Yeah.
loss.
That's
One of
Clarksville
these.
really tough night for them to lose that game in the manner in which they did.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to seeing if how far they could make a run if they could have got by Collierville, because I thought that was a really tough draw for the first round.
Well, these
Yeah,
four will
and
fight it out amongst themselves for that
one
semifinal spot.
one name that come up all year for us was James. Say the last name, Scott. Darwimple. Is that right?
Dalrymple, yeah,
Dalrymple.
yeah,
He's just a junior. He will be back next year.
yep.
Look for a huge senior season from him next year for the Wildcats.
Division II single A looks like this, with Jackson Christian traveling to Columbia Academy and Middle Tennessee Christian getting into the fray after their bye week against First Assembly Christian School.
I mean, I think MTCS kind of drew the short end of the straw, guys. I mean, I think all four of these teams could play for a state title.
Yeah.
FACS's offense is super explosive. Jackson Christian kind of took a blow when Jalen Mosley was lost for the year with an injury, but they rolled Ezel last week. And Columbia Academy, as long as Monte Baldwin's playing, they're going to be in the mix. So, but MTCS just kind of, I think, in this side of the bracket, the most complete team overall.
Yeah, this side of the bracket loses a little bit with Jalen Mosley being out for Jackson Christian. But man, what a potential semifinal is Eli Wilson versus Monte Baldwin. Eli Wilson has already, I know it's his team, but he's already knocked off Tyson Walcott this season. If he was able to outperform Monte Baldwin, I mean, that's a telltale sign of what kind of player Eli Wilson is.
Shout out to Coach Seth Anderson at Columbia Academy, too. He turned that program around real fast.
Yep. Bottom half of the single A bracket, Nashville Christian at Trinity Christian, and then Friendship Christian hosting DCA, which will be our spotlight game this week.
Remember what
Joe,
we
what's
said about,
remember what we said
about
first?
Smyrna Ravenwood? Take the over on TCA Nashville Christian, because defense won't be played in this game. I promise.
I was going to say, what do you think the first 1-2 score is?
40. I think first to 40 wins this game. This is one of those games where I think legitimately who has the ball last wins it. I don't think either defense is shutting the other down. Simple as that. Where on the flip side of that, Friendship Christian DCA could be a very low scoring game. Who knows?
We'll talk about that a little more at length later on. Double A looks like this: Davidson Academy at Lausanne and Boyd Buchanan hosting North Point Christian in the top half.
Yeah, we talked about Davidson Academy. I mean, it's hard to say that this is a good draw. It is, because you do avoid CPA and you do avoid FRA until what would be the state championship game. But you have to go to Memphis to play a Lausanne team that has had a really good year, and if you win that one, would they host Boyd Buchanan? Is that the way that would work?
They would not. They would go to Boyd Buchanan.
So then you have to go beat the greatest high school football coach in Tennessee history. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good draw. Yeah.
Yeah. Triple A, or the bottom half of Double A, looks like this, with the FRA hosting Knoxville Webb and then CPA hosting USJ.
One of these games
FRA
could be really good.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that FRA Knoxville Webb to see how that one winds up, because I just want to see how good FRA is again coming down the stretch, because they're going to have it all together if they're going to face CPA again.
Yeah. One of the areas I thought FRA lost that CPA game in was in the line play.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Cam.
I mean,
they threw the ball way too much. It's simple as that. If they run the ball, they win that game potentially. They went away from Ty Clark. To me, it made no sense.
Yeah, I mean,
were they stopping Ty though?
No, he was right. He was averaging maybe 8 yards a carry when he got going.
That was a 3-point game of the fourth quarter before the turnovers bit him.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I thought it was a pretty evenly matched game. You take away the 5 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
You got your workhorse doing it, and they started throwing screens to him, which worked. I mean, he accounted for 130 yards in that game and scored the only touchdown for him. So I think if they play again, also we got to take into account, Chris, you and I saw this. Bobby Council was hurt in that game. He was not.
he had looked like he had a groin issue. And
Yeah, he was
multiple
not.
times he had to come off the field.
He was not there. So I think if these two play again, it's much closer game.
Yeah.
But
And-
FRA
and
can't look
that's- and
ahead.
that's-
No.
Right, and that's why I'm saying I'd like to see how because if they knock off Knox Webb, I think that builds confidence for them and also gives them a better understanding of what they need to do to be successful in CPA.
And this was the same situation that FRA was in last year because they had a Chattanooga Christian team that they went down there and probably should have beaten, but then they didn't play well and got knocked out in the second round, potentially looking ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They can absolutely not afford to do that this time around, even though they were home.
Right.
Yep.
Let's look at AAA real quick and be able to blow out win over Briarcrest. Now they traveled to McCauley. NBA and Ensworth sat out last week, and both of them will face each other at Ensworth.
Look,
If
it's
somebody at the start of the year would have told you this matchup in the playoffs, Brentwood Academy and McCauley, they would have said, well, that's at least a semifinal game. It might be the state championship game.
Yeah.
Nope.
I think it's a whole new season for Brentwood Academy. Simple as that. You put that 1-9 year behind you. You're 1-0 right now. You beat Briarcrest Christian last week in a game you were supposed to win. They had a lot of those games in regular season that they did not win. You look at maybe the NBA game. I know NBA's defense has been good all year, but going in that game, how many of us really thought NBA would win that game? Would they be able to outduel BA's offense? So, BA's offense rolled in Briarcrest. You're facing a McCauley team whose last game was that heartbreaking loss to Lipscomb Academy. Where are they at mentally? It's a good spot for BA.
Yeah, we put out our rematch story today. And go ahead, Scott.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
I mean, they played McCauley to a 29-15 game the first time around, and they were right there late.
Well, the thing that I was looking at is what Joe said was McCauley came out and stubbed their toe last week, and you look at this bracket and you realize that Brentwood Academy has all the talent in the world to beat McCauley.
Mm-hmm.
That they've got the talent. Can they do it? NBA is playing better than they've played all year. They finally found some offense, got their quarterback going. Ensworth has played well defensively. Their offense shows up. Sometimes it doesn't. Anybody in this bracket, I think, could wind up on the end of it.
Yeah.
The bottom half of the bracket, nobody in our area is left. There's Christian Brothers at Baylor and Knoxville Catholic at MUS, which is a heck of a long trip.
Yeah,
It's Baylor's world, and everybody else is just living in it.
Pretty accurate.
Yep. We'll get to some of those games and who you got here in just a little bit. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's hear first from our fine sponsors at Miracle Auto Group.
Join thousands who bought their miracle from Miracle Ford in Gallatin. People like Allie and Daniel of White Bluff, Darian of Gallatin, Nicole of Hendersonville, Elizabeth of White House. People like Janet and Steve of Hendersonville, Oscar of Gallatin, Susan of Portland, Nick of Castalian Springs.
Stop dreaming and start driving.
Plus pickup and delivery service available for all of your service needs.
Are you ready for a miracle?
All right. As always, Miracle Auto Group, a proud sponsor of this show and our players of the week, which we're going to do right now. Mitchell Carey, Braden Graham, Carter Hackman, Justice Law, Trayvon Murray, Caden Powell, and Caden Stroud of Davidson Academy are finalists out of round one. You guys had the chance to vote on those the last couple of days with their stats on our website at 615preps.com. I went with Trayvon Murray. I mean, we can throw out the fact that was a 36-30 game against a one-win Maplewood team. Murray was the reason Fairview advanced. And without his stellar performance, we're talking about one of the biggest upsets of the year happening in 3A. So it was a no-brainer for me to go with Murray here. Scott agreed. He went to Trayvon Murray as well.
Yeah, they needed all 311 yards that he gained in that game last week to defeat Maplewood. You ball out like that, where you are essentially carrying the team on your legs. Yeah, you're my player of the week.
Joe makes it 3 for Murray.
Yeah, I mean, what you guys said, I can't really add anything else onto it. I mean, They needed every bit of him, and they got it, and they avoided the major upset. So kudos to them.
Cam went with Mitchell Carey.
Yep, back-to-back weeks picking Mitchell to be the player of the week. I mean, the guy's done it over and over and over this year. 395 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's had an unbelievable junior year after having a really struggling last year as a sophomore. It'll be really interesting to see how he plays on the road at Friendship Friday night and going into his senior year next year.
Anyone want to take a guess as to who KJ picked?
Hmm.
Had to do it to him. Had to do it to him. He did go with Caden Powell, and Powell was 6 of 8, 176 yards passing, 2 TDs, had 12 carries for 122 yards in that win over Memphis Overton last week.
I mean, that's all we had to say.
Fair enough, man. A few words, but he's the best dressed one here, so we'll let him go with it. Fans also voted for Caden Powell, and it was quite a large side, 38.3% for Caden Powell to get the fans' vote, but 3 votes for Murray are going to put Trayvon Murray on top for this week's Miracle Auto Group Player of the Week. Congratulations to Mr. Murray out there at Fairview.
Yeah, maybe we consider Chris at some point in the not too distant future, if you are a consistent player of the week nominee, maybe we ought to figure out something for that.
I mean, yeah, that's going to show up in the end of the year awards, obviously.
Yep.
All area team, because Mitchell Carey's been there time and time again, and we've said his name a lot, and for good reason. He's played very well most of the year.
Yeah.
Not done yet, though, because the Line of the Week award is up for grabs, too. And the 5 this week are Beach's offense, Centennial's defense. We'll start with Beach's offense. 322 rushing yards, 498 of total offense in that win over Memphis Overton. Centennial's defense held Columbia to 128 yards and 3 first downs, and then forced and fumbled to recover to fumble, and then won 27-15. BCA's defense held Mount Juliet Christian Academy to 72 total yards, 0 of 9 on third down, and 0 of 2 on fourth down. They won 65-14. Friendship Christian's offense had 300 rushing yards in their 42-14 win over Fayette Academy. In fact, Friendship Christian had 300 total yards. They didn't throw for anything. Didn't have to. Oakland's offense had 296 yards rushing, 496 total in that 38-3 win over visiting Gallatin. The fan vote of the award, and Beach's offense takes it this week. And KJ is
KJ, do you want to present that award?
I don't know if I will be able to, but good, I would love to.
KJ doing that, all I could think was, in the church said.
Amen. Amen. When the stars align, the stars align.
Relax, KJ. It wasn't that close.
Yeah. So congratulations to Trayvon Murray at Fairview and Beach's offensive line for winning those Miracle Auto Group Players of the Week awards. We'll have more next week. Everybody else is in play. If you win one during the regular season, you're back in business. You can pull another one if you really ball out. But a lot of people waiting for these. It's time to apologize. I suspect this was a little tougher this week because, as we'll see later, the numbers were pretty good in our picks. So searching to find out how we were going to do this. But Scott, you were drawing the short straw this week.
Oh,
God. Had a grand total of 7 losses. So
wow.
You get to go first this time.
Hendersonville, we're here again. What can I say? I sit before you, a man stripped bare. You went 200 miles and exposed a Munford team that I thought was better, and you showed they were wearing the Emperor's new clothes. You've truly shown me how important it is to bear it all and go commando. And for that, I apologize.
Oh my goodness! And we lost him. He's back now.
That was not good enough, Scott. Chris kicked you out.
Did they lose me?
I
Did
kicked
you
you
lose
out.
me?
I kicked you out for that.
You said bear it all and go commando.
Yeah, the puns were.
You were afraid I was going to actually do it.
Man, that one. Whew.
That made me nervous. Puns were oozing over, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So I had
Well,
to say time
I
out
mean-
for a few seconds.
So you put me in timeout?
Yeah, you went in the penalty box. That's exactly what happened.
Well,
Exactly.
I mean, it was
Uh-oh.
sincere. I actually had to think about that one.
That was
for
a
a
good.
little-
That was a good one. That's in your top.
Yeah,
That's in your
yeah.
top 3 for the year, I think.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, as much as we rag on him a little bit, that's pretty good.
Matt with the win.
Go buck naked.
We actually had got shirts of those actually.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
Folks, that's the show for this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad. We're talking about buck naked, and I don't know if Hendersonville's going to appreciate that.
No, they won't. I mean, that's.
Well, they can get on here and be prepared to comment. We can just sit back and watch the carnage.
I think. I think.
I almost pay to see that.
I think KJ should go next.
I don't think that actually.
I think-
No, I'm gonna save KJ for the 3 spot in this lineup, and Cam, you and Joe had 3 losses each, but I'm gonna let Cam go first because
I think I should go last, personally.
100%.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Cam, you're up.
Yeah. So I picked against you guys a couple times earlier in the year. And you proved me wrong then too, but I had more options to pick. This week, you are the only option. But you so deserve it. You did what nobody thought you could do. You went on the road to South Gibson and you beat the Hornets. Coach Bain, what you've been able to do in a season where you joined late in the offseason, the whole deck was stacked against you guys to make the playoffs, to go on the road and win a playoff game. You guys proved me so wrong, and for that I'm sorry. And best of luck this week against Pearl-Cohn.
I actually didn't hear you say station camp at the beginning. I don't know if
He
it cut
did.
out or not.
No, he didn't. I didn't hear it.
So that was planned. Okay, good deal. That was planned. All right. Well, all right, KJ, I'm gonna make you go next. So this one's all yours.
Summit. It's personal vendetta. You guys stopped my dream from getting one of these, and I had to pick against you guys. I'm sorry. That hurts me saying it way more than it hurts me picking against y'all last week. It hurt right here. But you guys got it done. Congratulations.
You know what? When you bring hardware to the conversation, that jumps right to the top of the list.
Yeah, that's good. That was really good.
That was pretty good. Now, Chris, I believe yours is going to be a duplicate, is it not?
And unfortunately, I have to do this again. Smyrna, we gotta quit being like this. This is bordering on absurd now. I can't figure you guys out. You have basically screwed up my picks all year long. One of these days, I'm going to get it right. But this week, maybe in the future, I don't know. But y'all have been red hot. The defense has kept playing exceptional ball. I've yet to trust you. Will that change this week? I'll find out later. For now, I can honestly say that I'm.
I felt that one. I felt it right
Yeah.
in my heart.
It's more
I get
heartburn.
it.
I felt heartburn personally. But All right, Joe. We save yours for last because you did something that only one other person has done before, and we'll talk about that here in just a bit.
Last week it was a good week for all of us. Right now, all I have to say is, from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to apologize to absolutely nobody. Last week, 10-0 champ. I do what I want. I just need you guys to know that. 10-0? You thought you were getting an apology from me? Me? I went 10-0. Negative, Ghost Rider. Not happening. You witnessed greatness. It's not changing anytime soon, folks. I'm going to keep it going. Chris Jericho, I think he said it best. Just drink it in, man. Drink it in.
I think we peaked, gentlemen.
Yeah, evidently. Yeah.
Nailed it. We've been sitting on that one all year.
Yeah. Joe showed me when he bought that crown off of Amazon the other night.
It's staying
I
on.
knew this was going to be good.
It's staying on. I'm wearing it throughout the rest of the show.
All right.
What's the saying? Have it your way, Joe.
Have it your way.
Got to figure out how to get this around.
Very good, Cam.
That was good.
Cam gets 2 points for the comeback with that. I love that.
Yeah.
I'll have a Whopper fries and a large Dr. Pepper, please.
$6 off Amazon, folks.
Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce. Special orders. Don't upset us.
We can't really top that, and we're not going to try, but our picks are coming after the break. Let's hear again from the fine folks at Miracle Auto Group.
Stop dreaming and start driving.
Lease a new 2023 Ram 1500 Bighorn for $585 per month for 42 months. $0 security deposit. $0 at lease inception at Miracle Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Gallatin. And get powertrain warranty for as long as you own your vehicle and VIP benefits. Black Friday sales event all month at Miracle.
Are you ready for a miracle?
After that stirring performance, we have to follow it up with our picks for this week. So,
God.
I know, Scott, right? It's time for who you got. I mean, Scott, you don't have too much to complain about. You went 8-2 for the show picks. I mean,
Yeah, but I didn't get no crown. I mean, I have some crown, but
we'll see. There's that. You can always take that route.
yeah.
And Joe tied for first place in the show pick. So
We got to be careful now, guys.
Really good week. Really good week.
yeah. Reggie was 6-4. I got to give Reggie props. He's done the job this year. He was below 500 last year, and now all of a sudden that record is pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, you're actually respectable.
Yeah.
Quit doing that. Scene.
On to the overall picks where
Oh gosh.
I tied a league record last week with a 47-2 mark. Second time I've done it. Joe gets to tout 10-0. I get to tout a league record myself. So
Chris is more
how
humble
did
than
that
I am.
happen?
I get to tout being in first place.
this is true. Yeah, Scott went from first to last. That's how close it was.
In 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Oh, in one.
Yeah, we
were
were tied last week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm still most impressed about the 800 batting percentage there.
It's really good.
Yeah.
That's,
I'm bringing the average down.
Yeah.
Hey, no media outlet out there that is picking this many games at that rate.
Nope. Who does it better than us? Nobody.
Buddy.
So, without further ado, after all that show business, let's get down to the business of picking these games, and we'll start by recapping last week, like all the red for the losses, everybody else the white for the wins. No told you so's last week, which is a little interesting. I thought somebody might have one. Didn't happen.
Yeah, I thought it was be me.
You tried, but alas, did not happen. We start with Beach and Southwind in 5A. Joe is going with the Jaguars of Southwind. He likes the fact that Reggie picked Southwind. The rest of us are on the Buccaneers. Joe, since you went with Southwind, you take off.
Yeah, it's simple for me. Kelvin Perkins. I mean, I think he is the type of quarterback that could give this Beach defense some issues. He's a running quarterback. He has had a great year. There's a real reason he's in the Mr. Football conversation. It's a tough road trip. I know what you guys are probably going to say. Well, they haven't played anybody all year. Yeah, they shut out Munford 42-0. That's all I needed to know. I think the Southwind team they're young. They're going to get better. I think we're starting to see something special out of this Jaguars team, and I like them winning. I like them scoring late. I think this is a close game. Beach needs to go to old school Beach and run the ball, keep them off the field.
Yeah. I had Southwind until 4:30 this afternoon. And the numbers, the gut feeling is what led me to look at the numbers more. And when I look at the numbers more, the Southwind team has never made it past the second round. Their opponents are 43-73. Beach's opponents have a winning record. Numbers don't lie. I think Beach, historically, this is the type of game where Beach goes on the road and plays a physical brand of football. Good enough defensively, but smash mouth, physical, take it to the Jaguars. I like Beach in a very, very close game.
Let's be honest. The Bucs have been outscored by their opponents that they've lost to by 10 points combined. I feel like there's nobody that couldn't get it done but the Bucs. This might be a little home cooking, might be a little home turf playing here, but when you think about what the Bucs do on offense, they run the ball. Southwind, they haven't seen anybody that runs the ball like the Bucs do, and their defensive line is very undisciplined up front. They will jump off sides on different snap counts, and I think the Bucs will use that in their advantage. And like Cam said, that gut feeling, there's just something about picking against the Bucs I can't do.
Well, Beach has been on a roll since they were, I don't want to say, let's just say they were soundly beaten by it. They played well against Henry County, which I think is a comparable team. Kelvin Perkins is tough, and Southwind does average 43 points per game. They've had 6 shutouts, but I don't think they played a team like Beach yet. And I honestly believe that Sheldon Swafford has a big game, and if they protect the ball in this game, I think that they have a really good chance to win it. I think it'll be close, but I think Beach comes away.
Yeah, Joe, I'm going to say it. Southwind is Clarksville 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you mentioned that Mumford game, but that was 9 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And now we get November Beach as opposed to September Beach, which September Beach lost a few games. November Beach runs the ball. They don't make a lot of mistakes. If they don't fumble, they're going to get the job done.
I just want you guys to know that if I go 10-0 next week, I'm going to be so unbearable.
If you go 10-0 next week, I will get you a robe to go with the crown.
We understand that.
Yeah, I should have gone Halloween shopping earlier. Look, I'm just saying, running quarterbacks have given Beach issues this year.
Yeah,
I've seen it twice.
That
reason number one why I had Southwind until 4:30 today. That's exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
But when you look at the numbers historically, the Southwind team earlier on in the year against a team out of Olive Branch, Mississippi, Cedar Hill, I believe is the name of the school. Mm-hmm. 17-14 win for Southwind. And Cedar Hill ended up 5-6 on the year. So that's a type of game that leads me to think that Beach can win this game.
Yep. All right, on to the next one. Centennial at Shelbyville. We're all in agreement here that Centennial is going to win this game. Just depending on how much. Cam's got 35-20. I've got 24-20. Scott's got him by 7. Joe's got him by 8. KJ's got him by 3.
Yeah, Centennial played pretty doggone good defense last week. They pretty much shut down Columbia's running game, and I think they scored on a kick return and a pass that was had one broken tackle. Caden McCoy, they held him just 32 yards and 18 carries. And Dominic Reed didn't play much in the first half. I think that they'll have to play him more in this one. I think Shelbyville's schedule will put more points up on the board. But if Tanner Lee continues to get healthy, they can swap him out. I think Centennial is primed to make a run. I don't know that Shelbyville's seen a team with as much talent as the Cougars.
Yeah, I think, I have them by a wider margin. I think they let the King Cat loose this week. I think Dominic Reed has a big night. But I also think that Elijah Neves has a good night for the Cougars, which will be imperative to keeping them from loading the box against Dominic in that rushing attack.
I feel like the key for Centennial to win this game is the defense. I've watched them play against Page. They didn't get the job done there, but they definitely they made the Page work for every touchdown they got. And I think in November that's what you need to see, and I think that's what's going to carry them.
Yeah. Tanner Lee coming back is huge for Dominic Reed, especially on the defensive side. He doesn't have to take that many offensive snaps. He can focus more on being that stellar defensive standout that he is, and they can have more of a timeshare in the backfield. So be huge for the Cougars if Tanner Lee can stay healthy and then give Reed a few snaps off.
It's a game I was not comfortable picking because I could see it going either way. I just think Dominic Reed is the difference in the end.
East Robertson at Marion County. Yeah, Marion County's unbeaten, but we're all taking East Robertson here.
Another tough one to pick. Just if this was at East Robertson, I think I'd feel a little more comfortable. Them going on the road it's tough. I don't think Marion County's faced to players like Isaiah Groves or Elijah Groves or Zach Groves or any of the Groves family tree. So I think Isaiah does more than enough, and Elijah has, a pick six or a long receiving touchdown to seal the win here.
I just pictured the Stanford tree mascot getting off the bus, and it has pictures of the Groves players on it.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Scott.
I was just saying, I had written down here, the game's going to be determined by Groves. I just don't know which one. Now, you look at this Marion County team, they're tough. This was a tough one for me to pick. They've got a defensive end, Braden Kaufelt, with 108 tackles and 3 picks for a defensive end. And then they've got another linebacker with 11 sacks and 12 tackles for loss. This is a stout line that Isaiah is going to be running against. I think this is a game that Elijah has to have. This is the one where he's got to make an impact on the outside. Both he and I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, I think both receivers have to be successful early. If they are, I think they just opens things up for Isaiah Groves in the running game.
Yeah, I think
Brooks.
How could you forget?
Remember the kid? The coach's son. The other receiver, Brooks. Yes.
But I think this is going to be a defensive battle. I feel like we've seen East Robertson against Smith County, and that's kind of where I'm, looking at this game. Another battle like Smith County is what they're going into, and I think they win the defensive battle this time around.
Marion County struggled with Forest, who backslid out of the playoffs after losing 6 straight games. That was a concern for me. And then last week against Westmoreland, Westmoreland's defense held them to 21 points, and East Robertson had their way with Westmoreland. So I'm not really.
No, that was a close game.
No, that
was it
13-12.
No, yep. You know what? You're right. 13-12. Still, I don't like Marion County's body of work, even though they're unbeaten. They haven't really played all that big competition. So
yeah, competition. One thing to note here, in my opinion, this is the team in the east side of the bracket in 2A that I wouldn't say that they match East Robertson's athletes, but they are the closest to matching East Robertson's athletes. So keep that in mind. This one could have a lot of points, as I have 35-28.
Yeah, I've got 35-30 as well. So
Yeah, so I mean, I could definitely see some points scored here. Marion County's defense has held up well, but they've not faced the athletes that East Robertson has.
yeah, it's Liberty Creek and Fairview. Reggie's going with Fairview. He thinks he's going to get one there. We're all on Liberty Creek, who is coming to this game absolutely red hot.
I mean, I think that's exactly what it is. They're red hot. I mean, 40+ points in 6 games. That's impressive. That's not easy to do, and especially in an atmosphere like being a new team on town. I feel like that's why I had to choose Liberty, because that's impressive. Like what Brian Rager and that offense is doing, impressive. And
yeah, and they're the shiny new object. I mean, that's in Sumner County. That's pretty much what they are, and that's the way they're treated. But what Coach Alexander's been able to do out there is exceptional. This Fairview team, it'll be interesting to see how they perform, because on the scoreboard show Saturday, Scott, you mentioned that you thought this, Fairview's game last week was the prime look ahead issue, where they may have been preparing for this Liberty Creek game instead of focusing on a 1-9 Maplewood team. And it will be interesting to see if that is in fact the case. If that is the case, this will be a knockdown, drag out, great game. But if they come out and play the way they did last week, I wouldn't be surprised if the Wolves, run away with this thing.
Well, they're going to do. Fairview they're going to do their best to keep Rager off the field, and the best way they can do that is by feeding Murray, and so I think that's going to be the case with Coach Hughes. Although I wouldn't rule out a wrinkle here or there. He really seems to pull out all the stops offensively, and there's not a coach that's much more creative than Chris Hughes. But I just like Liberty's quick strike ability here. I think that they're the team that can match Fairview score for score and then some. And I think, but Cam, you're right. It's going to be interesting what they do away from the confines of Liberty Creek. Can they pick up their first road playoff win? That'll be a big test for them. I think they will, and I just think that Liberty Creek is offensively just a little bit ahead where Fairview is. Fairview's still a young team.
Scott, it's fitting that your face is actually on the bottom of the screen here, because you've got to answer to this one from Matt. Sometimes I feel like Reggie is just an excuse for Scott to not miss a game.
No, the cat picks all the games. I mean, where's the fun in that?
That's a lot of cat food.
That is a lot of cat food.
I tell you what, I go through the what they call them, temptations. I go through those quite a bit. No,
Take
cat picks his own games.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Sponsors. Yeah.
One thing to add on that last matchup, if you're a uniform junkie like I am, this is probably the best uniform matchup right here. This is Oregon versus Ole Miss. If you don't know anything about either school.
Yep. For certain that Fairview yellow will be all over the place Friday night.
Yeah, wear your sunglasses.
I think Liberty they wind up going Stormtrooper for this one though, just a hunch.
Interesting.
Macon County at Red Bank. We talked about a little bit of this earlier in the bracket recap, and I put Macon County red because they wore those red jerseys. Cam, you said you love those, that they honored the 1973 team in last week, and
wait a minute,
red with those.
Can going forward, we need a rule.
Uh-oh.
If you're going to name your school with a color, that color needs to be in your team. Okay, you can't be Red Bank and your colors be blue and gold. Okay,
their colors are not blue and gold; they're blue and silver.
Blue and silver.
Because they're the Lions.
The picture I looked at must have just had bad photography lighting, because it looked blue and gold. The picture
probably did.
Yeah. But that just needs to be a thing. Okay, Red Bank should be red. Fair point.
I you know what? I can't argue that. So somebody missed the mark on that one.
This has
But,
been your grumpy old man minute.
Old man yells at cloud.
Get off my lawn! All right, back on the track here. Macon County, we all have-
disagree, Scott.
Yeah, I don't think he was going to argue with that, honestly. We've all got Macon County here. 74.2% of the fans taking the Tigers as well. Let's talk about this one. I mean, it's revenge for Macon County, but also, too, that Macon County defense has carried them. They've played outstanding most of the year.
Yeah, I think Red Bank is athletic enough to keep Macon from hitting the explosive plays to score a lot in this one. But I think Macon's defense will smother Red Bank. I think a late touchdown by Red Bank makes this one a little bit closer than what it is. And ultimately, Macon County does enough. And spoiler for picks tomorrow, they do enough to get their rematch with Upperman.
I think patience is the key here. Macon County has to be patient because I think that this Red Bank defense is very, very good. They've allowed no more than 7 points to opponents in their 8 wins. They've got 4 shutouts. They got a Duke committed defensive end. This is a very good defense. Macon County cannot get impatient and make a mistake with the ball. If they do that and stick to their game plan, they can win this game at Red Bank. But I think that they have to play a very solid game and not turn the ball over and probably get 1 or 2 big plays out of Gabe Borders.
All right. So basically, everyone's been talking about the defense, and the defense is good. You have to win 2 phases of the game. Even if they can't win the offensive phase, they're gonna win the special teams game. They are so good at the kicking game, and I think that might be the difference maker this time around.
Very well could be. Another note about this matchup, that Red Bank game last year, a 21-14 win for Red Bank. They don't have a particular guy wearing number 17 as he's now in Murfreesboro for the Oakland Patriots. That is a huge difference between last year's Red Bank team and this year's Red Bank team. And we're talking about Mr. Football semifinalist Dwan Morris.
Yep. I think this type of game where maybe Macon's looking ahead a little bit. They go into this game knowing what's on the horizon with that potential rematch with Upperman. So I think Gabe Borders' touchdown late seals the deal, but I think this is a ball game. I think this is going to be a lot of fun Friday night.
I might agree with that, but the way that they have felt after losing to Red Bank last year, there's no looking ahead here. They're looking to put them out, and that's basically where I'm going with this. And this offense is more balanced than it has been. It's not just Gabe Borders. Zach Borders coming back and being a big part of that offense has been huge for Gabe as well. And like KJ said, I think a special teams play is coming because if Red Bank's not disciplined in the kicking game, he'll house one on him.
Yep.
NBA and Ensworth, they both had a week off to prepare for each other. So Reggie's going with NBA, but the rest of us are on Ensworth.
Yeah, this is a rematch from earlier in the season. I think the score was 17-7 or 17-3, something like that.
17-3.
Yeah, so it was a good defensive game, defensive game for Ensworth, and I think they'll do that again.
Yeah, I mean, Ethan Utley dominated that first matchup. Joe, you can speak a little bit more on that as y'all were at this game.
Yep.
But NBA has made strides offensively, and they are the same team defensively that they were early on in the season. I think they've made strides, but I don't know if it's enough to knock off the Tigers at home.
NBA's played well defensively against teams that they've played well because the teams they've beaten outside of Lipscomb, they've really struggled on offense. So I think this rematch kind of plays into their hands, but Ensworth has their number. They ended that 5 or 6 year losing streak to NBA earlier in the season. And I don't know if NBA has anybody that can slow down the likes of an Ethan Utley because they didn't the first time around. He was all over the field. So I think NBA scores 1 more touchdown in this one. I just think Ensworth's defense does just enough.
Up until this is like Cam had earlier, up until just before I hit the send button, I had NBA in that slot with the same score. Just because they seem to have found an offense that Hugh Price, their sophomore quarterback, has taken over, and he seems to be learning and getting better every week. And if this if they were playing a team that was decent defensively and good offensively, I would have stayed with that. But then I remembered how good Innsworth's defense is, and that to me spells trouble because they'll have hard enough time scoring. They'll be able to stop Innsworth offensively, but they won't be able to do a whole lot, I don't think. That being said, I do think that there'll be some scores, but again, I like the Tigers defense here to win over the Big Reds defense.
Do we know if Mason Curtis is going to be back for this? I know he was out.
I don't know.
Could be a huge player, especially with Ainsworth's ability to stop the short pass game.
Yep.
Oakland at Mount Juliet in 6A, and we're all taking the Patriots here. Nobody's stepping out of line in this one. 85.7% of the fans taking Oakland, and multiple score wins predicted by pretty much all of us.
Yeah,
Just not the same Mount Juliet team.
No.
You know, this matchup, if Mount Juliet, even the loss to Franklin, if they would have rebounded and beaten the Green Hill team and beaten a Rockville team, and if John Michael Crudup doesn't get hurt, this is a totally different matchup to pick. Probably still pick Oakland, of course, but it's totally a different matchup. And this Oakland team, slow start last week, as you mentioned, Joe, earlier in the show, but defensively they were dominant.
Yeah.
They were dominant defensively.
Yeah. Go ahead, KJ.
I mean, I watched this game. Oakland started off slow. They threw a pick in the first drive, but after that, it was go mode. They Gallatin scored first, put 3 on the board, or something like that. There was 3-3, and then they just did what Oakland did. They just did what Oakland does, and that's run all over people, run down people's throats, and I think that's probably what could happen again this week.
Yeah, I agree with you, Cam. I think that this team just never recovered from the injury to John Michael Crudup, and I think that Oakland is defensively a different team than they were when they played Riverdale. I think that this team is going to be focused. I think they want their pound of flesh, and right now, I think that just anybody who stands in their way in the short term until they see Riverdale again is going to be facing Oakland's best defense.
Yep. Simple as that.
Yep. Can't agree more.
You said everything I wanted to say.
Yeah. I don't think Oakland's going to be caught looking ahead either in the next week and a potential rematch with Riverdale. They're going to want to make a statement, and this will be the way to do it.
I don't think Riverdale's going to be caught looking ahead either.
Yep.
Ravenwood at Smyrna. A rematch of a regular season game earlier this year that Ravenwood won 28-6, and we're all taking the Raptors in the run back this time.
Yeah, Go ahead, Joe.
Is Smyrna 22 points better than they were earlier in the year? I don't think so. But I think defensively, Ravenwood's. I know they got shut out by Brentwood a couple of weeks ago, but that was a 17-0 game, and
Really good Brentwood defense too.
Yeah, I think Smyrna's good. I just think Ravenwood is right now better.
More complete, I think, is where we're at. There's been a couple guys this year that's really stepped up for Smyrna that's carried that team in their 7-game win streak. But ultimately, what this come down to me, I'll use Chris's line for 1,000, Alex, and that is I just trust Ravenwood's offense a little bit more. And ultimately, I think that's what it's going to come down to. Barring a defensive play can change this 100%, and Smyrna's definitely capable of doing that.
Yeah.
But I like Ravenwood to win a close one.
Yeah, the Raptors have just enough offense to offset the Bulldog defense, I think. I look for Robinson and Jones, like I said, to bracket Hubbard and force the Raptors beat them on the ground. I think that's just fine with Will Hester and Davis Dowling and both paces. I think that's their game. That's what they want to do. I look for this to be a ground game. I do have a little bit higher score because I think that there's a good possibility that we see another pick six from Smyrna or a punt return, or they find ways to generate points even if it's not offensively. But I honestly believe that Ravenwood's defense is that good, and Smyrna, I think they're. I just don't know if they have enough of it.
Yeah, I feel like if Smyrna's defense can put some points up, then they absolutely can win this game. But the key for me is Femi Babalola from Ravenwood, the quarterback at sophomore. He stepped in there and done a very good job. He's a dual threat quarterback, and as long as he doesn't make any mistakes throwing the football, he's going to be able to manage this thing for Ravenwood and I think put them through the next round.
Yeah.
Stratford at East Nashville, another rematch here of a game that was 35-0 in week 11. But Reggie thinks that Stratford can get in there and pull the upset.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Justice, but this is a game where history is going to have to repeat itself. East Nashville, they put so much pressure on an offensive line that struggles. I mean, they really do struggle. And, Justice did enough to get by last week. And it was an impressive performance, don't get me wrong. But there's just only so much you can do when you're running for your life. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I was there 2 weeks ago when East Nashville hammered Stratford 35-0, and truthfully, the score could have been worse. Stratford just struggled to run against the Eagles' defense, and poor Justice Law was forced to improvise all night, and still struggled against the Eagles' defense. Jordan Houston had a heck of a night, 6 tackles, a sack, and a pick. I don't know that the Eagles. I don't know. They left points on the field, and I think they could score better. I honestly believe that KJ Johnson has another big night. So same with Keelan Anderson.
This is one of those situations where, like, you look at the Ravenwood Smyrna game that happened a while ago, and could Smyrna be 22 points better than they were at that time? Sure, they're on a bit of a run. East Nashville and Stratford played 2 weeks ago, and it was 35-0. It would take a lot to prove to me that Stratford's 35 points better than they were 2 weeks ago. I think Justice Law does what he does because he's Justice Law. He's a great quarterback, but East Nashville's the more complete team, and I mean, I picked him to go to state, so that's simple as that.
Yeah, I think East Nashville is, especially East Nashville's going to do what East Nashville does in this game, but I think Justice is too good to be shut out 2 times in a row by anybody, really. So I look for East Nashville to win convincingly, but for Justice to get in the end zone a couple times.
Yeah, I do think that Stratford does score against East Nashville. I mean, it could be 4 shutouts in a row for East Nashville if they were to do it, but that's a hard thing to do. And the Stratford's going to have some adjustments ready. I mean, that game was only 2 weeks ago, so it's still minds.
Well, their opening drive, they could have easily scored on that, but when they got to the red zone, penalties pushed them back. It happened to them twice, so there were opportunities for them to score in that game. So I'm on board with you guys. I think that I find it hard pressed that the Spartans won't find the end zone somewhat in this game.
Let's hit our Spotlight Series game up. DCA at Friendship Christian. We're all on Friendship Christian. The fans 71.4% taking the Commanders here. Camp's got a 3-point win. I've got them by 7. Scott's taking them by 13. Joe's got a close one, and KJ's got the widest margin of anybody at 15 points. But this DCA team, a lot of them came back from last year that nearly pulled off the upset in the rematch in that playoff run too.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking here. That should have been 31-28. But you look at DCA's offense, and they are. I mean, Mitchell Carey is slinging the ball right now, and but this Friendship Christian team, at the beginning of the year, I didn't think they were anywhere near this offensively focused. I knew that Tyson Walcott was was the man, but I had no idea that that their offensive line would play this well, and they have. This offense and this defense has played absolutely lights out this year, with the exception of the Middle Tennessee Christian game. I just feel like Friendship right now, they've been there, they've been in this position. DCA has too, but I think that them being there last year helps them out this year.
Well, I'm gonna speak for Cam for a second, but Tyson Walcott. Go ahead, Cam.
And that's pretty much that's all you got to say right there. It's this is going to be a matchup. The first time around, Wesley Gober, I believe, is his first couple weeks of the season for DCA. So that was a big matchup we were looking at going into the first matchup. Tyson played phenomenal, and Friendship won 35-13, and that was really closer than what it really was. But the same thing happened last year. And in the playoff rematch, it was a 1-point game because Friendship blocked the extra point. And I have a special teams play at the end of this game, winning the game again. Because these two teams, they are physical. It's going to be a slobber knocker, especially if we get the rain that's forecasted in. It is a turf field, so we won't have to worry about any mud. But you're still talking about ball control issues, which could limit Mitchell Carey. One thing to note about DCA, Cameron Booker went down for them in week 5 with a collarbone issue. He is back. He's ready to go. So that could be a huge boost for them as well. I expect more points than what you would typically expect out of a matchup like this. And like I said, special teams will win this game.
Yeah, I mean, simple as that for me. Shout out to my computer for freezing up on our Spotlight game. Gotta love technology. I hate it so much. The weather Friday night, that's a big thing that I looked at. I think Tyson Walcott is the perfect back for if it's raining like they're expecting. I think he comes out. He has a big game. But I think it's going to be close. Last year, Friendship, like Cam said, they cruised to a win in the regular season and got by the skin of their teeth in the postseason. Mitchell Carey's too good of a quarterback to let DCA have another blowout loss to Friendship. But right now I got Friendship advancing to the state title game. So I got to stick with that pick.
Kind of hard to go against that. Now, the weather for Friday looks pretty good for Friday night. The rain probably ending sometime in the morning Friday. So hopefully that won't be an issue.
Thank God.
For anybody going out to games Friday night. But
it will be cold.
47 degrees is in Nashville.
No.
Is
normal. Normal.
Yeah, what should be a normal.
Considering
it was 80 today.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's not right. And that's not right. Not in November.
47 will feel cold because we just had 80 degrees just 2 days before.
47 will feel good. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, be out there wearing shorts.
That's right. Yeah. While Joe fixes his the balance in his computer, we still have to get Bergie's pick for this week.
And here he comes, and he's going to choose. And he has made a choice. I'll let him get done before I pick it up. Now that he's done, I'll turn it over. And he has chosen. Yeah, I know you picked that one. The Commanders of Friendship Christian.
So Reggie makes it a consensus with Friendship Christian pick this week. So DCA, if they can pull this one off, somebody's gonna be apologizing to them next week.
Well, you're going there, so it makes sense that it'd probably be
Yeah,
you.
it'd probably be you.
It will definitely be you because I've picked Mitchell the last 2 weeks. So, hey,
We'll see.
Didn't pick him this week, though, did you?
Yeah.
I did pick Mitchell this week.
No.
No.
Not what I'm talking about.
Where it counts, Cam.
Yeah.
On the scoreboard.
Yeah. All right, let's recap these real quick. Joe and Reggie are on South Wendover Beach. The rest of us have the Buccaneers. We've all got Centennial over Shelbyville. We're all taking East Robertson over Marion County. We've all got Liberty Creek over Fairview with the exception of Reggie. We've all got Macon County over Red Bank. Reggie has NBA over Ensworth. We've all got the Tigers besides him. We're all on Oakland over Mount Juliet and Ravenwood over Smyrna. Reggie's taking Stratford over East Nashville. The rest of us are on the Eagles, and we've all got Friendship Christian over DCA. So a lot of consensus picks this week. So the rest of ours will be out 9 o'clock in the morning at 615preps.com for the other playoff games. So go check those out when they're released. Guys, it's a fun show. And
Yeah.
about as much fun as you can have on a Wednesday night at 8:30, huh?
Of course.
We done did good.
Yeah. All right, King. I'm gonna let you go first and the last word. Get after it.
Oh, well, it's good to be perfect. Been that way my whole life. But anyway, postseason football's here. I know last week, probably a lot of dud games, kind of like we expected. You're getting the teams that are fourth or third in the region out of the playoffs. Now we're getting into the good matchups. Make sure you're going to 615preps.com to check out the stuff we've been putting out the last couple of days. Potential quarterfinals matchups, our rankings every week. They really haven't changed a whole lot lately, to be honest with you, because our teams are getting it done. And then obviously the big one that we did yesterday, when's the last time your county won a state title? Who was that team? What did they do? That was a lot of fun to research, and, follow us on Instagram on all our socials. Get those numbers up, because by the time we get to Chattanooga here in 4 weeks, you'll be wanting to follow us all on there because we're going to be posting so much stuff. So thanks, everybody, and you'll see me with the crown probably next week, too, when I go 10-0.
Make sure you follow us, like, subscribe, stay active on social media. Don't forget, pick up a kid this week. It's his last football game. And Southwind, Gold's Gym, Bucks by 50.
Mic drop. But no, as KJ said, kids are going to be playing their last football games. We say this every week. It's one of those things that it's important that we cherish the little memories as football players, if there's any players watching, because ultimately a coach's job is to get you prepared not only for a football game, but prepared as a man. So embrace the little things, be coachable is the big thing, especially this late in the season. And most of the teams that make it to this point are extremely coachable. So that's one thing to note on. And then, Joe can be 10-0 all he wants as long as I'm number one overall. Have it your way, Joe.
Coming for you.
Wow, Cam, if you don't reel in Burger King for as a sponsor, I'm going to be very disappointed. Two things. First thing is that a lot of times when we're following this, some of the joy that I get is on Saturdays watching some of the players that we cover play at the next level, and that's very, very cool. I always get excited to see, like, for example, this weekend I got to see Keaton Wade playing for Kentucky, tackle Chris Parson, who's playing for Mississippi State, and that was exciting. But something else that's more exciting is I love to see these kids as they go on to the next step of their lives, whether it be in the trades or into college, and talk to them on the sidelines, and they let me know what's going on in their lives, and what they're doing and where they're going from there. We're fans of the kids. That's why we do this. We're fans of the players, fans of the coaches, fans of the schools. That's why we do this. Except for Joe, he does this because he wants to be right. second thing is we have an Etsy store now. So the 615 Preps has an Etsy store you can get right now. Our first offering is the Reggie sticker, the ones that I showed you. I'm sorry, Magnet. Thank you. Peanut Gallery. Thank you. The Reggie Magnet. They're up for sale. They're on the Etsy store. We'll have more offerings as they come along. We're working on new stuff for everybody. So go over there. All the proceeds for that stuff goes to help us keep going, to help pay bills and taxes and all the other ugly sides of the business that isn't following kids. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody over here on the side who's interacting with each other. Tell your friends, have them come on. We love to interact with everybody.
Y'all forgot about one person in these picks. I'm coming for all of it. Come December, come in Chattanooga. I'm going to be standing on top. Just wait.
Yeah, we'll see.
You can have the show picks, Joe, but when we pick over 700 games and you see CBC in number one, then you're going to know. That's all right, though.
He who laughs best laughs last.
Last I checked, you're still in third, buddy.
Joe and I don't care as long as that cobbler truck shows up again.
Yep.
Yeah, no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Day one. I think we go day
if somebody wants to sponsor a cobbler fest day one of this championship series, Chris, can you post our Venmo on here so that way we can make that happen?
Well, we can do that. We can do that. There you go. Have that ready to go.
So good. It's so good.
Yeah, Matt says it best.
That...
It's a journey, not a sprint. Not where you start, but where you finish. I couldn't agree more.
That's it.
Unless you're me, will end first.
Yep.
I was last the first 5 weeks.
Dang. Wait, guys, we can't let Joe have this. I'm afraid that his ego won't fit on the screen.
I don't know.
What does he have? He has a 10-0 week. Good for him.
Yeah,
he's not in first.
He's the second person to have done it, not the first. Shout out to Tom Duggan.
Sounds like a bunch of losers to me.
Hey, I'm the reigning champ here, okay? So I don't care.
That's
I'm the one at the controls, so
loser would say.
Be careful how you talk.
So technically, what was just said is the one that controls will be the winner.
Watch how you talking to me. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, Cam, it'd be really weird how if you're getting too close, all of a sudden you have a mistake pick.
Yeah. I still blame you for picking Oakland to lose to Haywood.
I'm not. No, you did that. I couldn't stop you from that one.
All I'm gonna say is
I must have been hitting some sipping cream or something.
If I just let me tell you, don't let me have a better record than y'all next week, because I'll come with a robe, I'll come with a staff, a cipher. It's happening.
Jesus.
I just want to say the real winners here in my book are Greenbrier and Red Bowling Springs, because at least, by gosh, they got colors in their names, and that's the color of their teams.
That's very fair.
That's a good point. And on that, I don't have anything else. Let's get out of here. Thank you all, y'all who've hung around for all of our nonsense this week. We'll see you Saturday morning, 9 a.m. for the scoreboard show. And have a great rest of the week. Go out and enjoy games Friday night. And, well, that's it for us. We're out of here. See y'all later.